He's one of the best players in football right now.
Erling Haaland, it's his first.
A Norwegian striker who for some reason can't stop scoring.
Wants it, Haaland has it, Erling Haaland!
Of course, I am talking about Erling Haaland.
And you can be sure that is a sign.
But how did he get where he's now? And why is he scoring so frequently? This video will give you the answers.
Here's Haaland, he's in again, scores again.
Erling Braut Haaland started his professional career at Molde FK. But it wasn't until he joined RB Salzburg in 2019 until he made a breakthrough in his career. He scored on his debut for the team on the 17th of February and managed to score his first hat-trick for the team in July. And after he just played half of a season with RB Salzburg, Haaland managed to win the Austrian Bundesliga. But it wasn't until the next year when his career really picked up the pace. Haaland scored a hat-trick on his first ever Champions League game.
Und Haaland, erste Haaland macht da das zweite. Und sie kommen halt immer und sie kommen wieder zu Haaland.
And to do so, he only needed the first half. In the next two Champions League games, one being at Anfield and
Minamino kennen wir schon, Haaland!
the other one being in Napoli,
Bestätigt das wieder, was wir vorher gesehen haben, aber da ist Haaland!
he managed to score as well. And after converting a penalty when they faced Napoli again,
Haaland gegen Meret und den macht er!
and also managing to score against Genk as well, he became the first player to ever score in his first 5 Champions League games. But unfortunately, the team was knocked out after they lost 2-0 against Liverpool. This would prove to be the last game for the club, as Borussia Dortmund signed Haaland in winter. During this short season, Haaland managed to score 28 goals in 22 games. Despite this only being the Austrian Bundesliga, it is still really impressive. In his first game for Borussia Dortmund, Haaland managed to score a hat-trick against FC Augsburg.
Trifft der Linksfuß und erzielt den Anschluss. Und Haaland macht weiter. Noch der Treffer zum.
Then, in his second game against Köln, he managed to score twice again, making him the first player to score 5 goals in his first 2 games. And despite only playing for an hour, he was crowned the player of the month. And then in the Champions League round of 16 this year, Haaland scored both goals when they beat PSG in the first leg of the
Abschluss nicht schlecht. Lücke auf Haaland, Haaland! Super Tor!
Unfortunately, they lost the second leg 2-0, so Haaland was eliminated from the competition for a second time in just one season. Despite this, Dortmund placed second in the Bundesliga again, meaning they secured a spot in the Champions League for the next season. Across the entire season, Haaland scored 44 goals in just 40 games for RB Salzburg and Borussia Dortmund. But things will only get crazier from here. In his first game in the new season, Haaland managed to score a brace against Borussia Mönchengladbach. And then in November, he managed to score 4 goals in just 32 minutes against Hertha BSC, which led to him winning the Bundesliga Player of the Month award for a second time. Also, Haaland scored 6 times in the first 4 games of the UCL group stage in this season. But then unfortunately, shortly before the 5th group stage game, Haaland got injured, which kept him out for the rest of the year. But after he came back, he managed to score twice against Leipzig, Gladbach, Bayern and Sevilla, which led to him securing his 100th goal in his professional career, reaching the milestone in only 146 games. But the season got even better for Haaland, as they managed to win the DFB Pokal, beating Leipzig in the final 4-1, in which Haaland managed to score a brace. Also, Haaland became the Champions League's top scorer, scoring 10 goals in the competition this season. Across all competitions, he managed to score 41 goals, 27 of them being in the Bundesliga, which led to him winning the Player of the Season award. Then on the first matchday of the next season, Haaland again managed to score a brace against Frankfurt. You might start to see a pattern here. Unfortunately, for the first few months, Haaland was sidelined by an injury. But when he came back in October, he again managed to score a brace against Mainz this time. Shortly after, unfortunately, he suffered a hip flexor injury, which kept him out for 2 months. Then, after the season, Haaland switched to Manchester City, the club at which he will become the beast you know today.
It will not be his last. And his name is Erling Haaland.
Erling Haaland, he's got it too. Erling Haaland. Haaland.
On his debut for the new club, Haaland again managed to score twice. Then, in the next few games, he managed to score a hat-trick against Crystal Palace and also scoring a hat-trick against Nottingham Forest. This led to him becoming the best Premier League player in August. And then, in the beginning of September, Haaland again scored a brace in his Champions League debut against Sevilla. Haaland just kept scoring and kept scoring, so I can't even mention every single game here. But in March, he managed to score 5 goals in a 7-0 victory over RB Salzburg in a Champions League round of 16.
Gehalten. Wer ist jetzt der Sieger? Eine Latte! Und Haaland stürmt ab! Pfosten! Und drin ist er! Erling Haaland! Akanji, Blaswig, Haaland! Und wieder und Haaland!
Which led to him becoming the 3rd player to ever achieve 5 goals in a single UCL game. After Haaland scored against Bayern Munich in the Champions League quarterfinals this season, he became the first ever Premier League player to reach 45 goals in all competitions in just one season. During April, he also won the Player of the Month award again. Haaland won his first trophy with Manchester City when he managed to secure the league in May of the same year. But the year will only get better, as they managed to win the FA Cup final against Manchester United, and they also beat Inter Milan in the Champions League final, meaning Manchester City won the treble in this season, becoming the 2nd Premier League team to ever do so. Haaland again became the top scorer in the Champions League in this season, and he also won the Golden Boot in the Premier League. Then, in the beginning of the 2023-24 season, Haaland became the fastest player to score 100 goals in Europe's top 5 leagues, only needing 103 matches for the 100 goals. He also won the Gerd Müller Trophy at the 2023 Ballon d'Or. This trophy is given to the player who scores the most goals for club and nation. In typical Haaland fashion, he kept scoring throughout the entire season. Unfortunately, he was injured again in early December, which kept him out for 2 months. But after he returned, he managed to score 5 goals in one game against Luton Town. This meant he became the first player to ever score 5 goals in 2 different games for Manchester City. This season, however, was less successful for Manchester City, as they only managed to defend their league title. Haaland again won the Golden Boot, but unfortunately they were knocked out against Real Madrid in the Champions League quarterfinals, and they also lost the FA Cup final against Manchester United. This season, Haaland again started off strong, scoring once against Chelsea and then 3 times against Ipswich and also against West Ham. He managed to score a brace against Brentford, and he also managed to score when they drew against Arsenal.
Traumpass auf Erling Haaland und der natürlich
With his goal against Arsenal secured him the 100th goal for Manchester City. Doing so, he only needed 105 games, setting another record. So after I've told you about Haaland's crazy statistics and goal-scoring capabilities, we will have a deep look into why he manages to score so frequently. First of all, Haaland is a really physical player, being really tall and also really fast. This means he's able to get past defenders, and he also manages to run faster than them most of the time. And obviously, as he is a great striker, he also has great finishing skills, meaning it doesn't really matter where Haaland is standing, there's always the probability for him to score a goal. The third main reason is his game intelligence and positioning. As you might know, Haaland can completely disappear for 90 minutes of the game, but then show up once or twice and manages to score in these 2 situations. This is because Haaland manages to position himself so well that he can get past the defender easily and manage to score with no problems. And obviously, in every great player, mentality is a factor as well. And with Haaland, this is definitely the case, because Haaland is a really determined player who always wants to maximize his effort and also wants to score at every situation. And one thing we can't underestimate here is that Haaland typically plays with really creative players that give him great chances. Some of these players include Rodri and Kevin De Bruyne, for example. So basically the combination out of these 5 things makes him one of the best scorers in the world. But it's still a mystery for me how this Norwegian guy just came up to the world stage and can't stop scoring. Because it doesn't matter how well you defend, Haaland always seems to find one situation in which he can score. What is even more interesting about Erling Haaland's case is that he is disliked among lots of fans. And obviously there are some reasons for that. First of all, Haaland is playing for Manchester City, a club who has been really dominant for the last few years in the Premier League, which alone can be a reason for some people to hate him. But also, the club itself, Manchester City, is a problem, as the club is facing a lot of charges at the moment, which means a lot of controversy around the club does obviously mean some controversy about the players joining them as well. Another reason is that Haaland is a really confident player. I mean, who wouldn't be really confident after winning consecutive Premier League Golden Boots? This confidence, however, can sometimes be interpreted as arrogance. And obviously people don't like arrogant players. Also, Haaland has a really physical playstyle. As I said, he's a really physical player, so his playstyle can be really rough. So more than often, he manages to dominate the defenders. And obviously, people like to see a more technical based player more than a physical based player. To sum it all up, Haaland had a crazy start to his professional career, and he managed to score more than anyone else in the last few seasons. This is mainly due to him having the perfect skills you need as a striker. But due to his success and play style and also club, a lot of people started to dislike him, making him a really controversial player as well. If you got any value out of this video, feel free to leave it a like and subscribe to the channel. You can ask any sort of questions regarding the topic in the comments below. Have a great day. Bye.